I'm quite sure you two could have a totally rollicking conversation up here without me, but I do have a few questions. You both said it so well. Networking can be often, and you both encouraged us to be bold and brave. How can we, though, become more fearless?
So when I think about it, a lot of it is really just stepping out of your comfort zone and doing things that you wouldn't normally want to do. And so the first time that I walked in to a minority dealer event, I looked in the room and there were so many men there. And I was X number of years, since it was about 20 years ago. And the worst thing that I imagined was the feeling of turning around and walking out. And so I kind of poked out my chest a little bit, not too much, and I walked in the room, and I went to one of the individuals in the room that I knew. And he has been a coach, he's been a mentor, he's been a friend to me for over 20 years. And I'll share this. I was at NADA, and after one of our conferences, they actually were sitting at dinner. And I went up to kind of talk to him. He and my boss were there. And he looked at me, he looked at my boss, and he said, Kathy, he said, I want to just share something with you. I'm like, what? You know, you're not about to give me more work, are you? And he's like, no. He said, being a minority in this industry is tough. And it's even tougher being a woman. And I commend you because you've been successful over the last 20 plus years. And I will tell you, it's not easy being a woman in this industry. And it's not necessarily that you got to toughen up. I think you have to be authentic, but I think you have to just move forward. You know, just do it. What's the Nike saying? Just do it. Because I think it gets easier and you gain more confidence the more you step out of your comfort zone and just do it.
Oh, well, you may have the problem that I contend with, which is I call it this committee. You have this committee in your head. And so, does everybody have a committee? Yeah, and sometimes you don't get a vote even because the committee's working it all out. And so you need to silence the committee. You need to change the radio station, I call it, to a better station. And what you feed on is what your committee talks about. So what do I mean? Spend time feeding yourself with great value in your friendships. The biggest advice that I can get to get over fear is that you are who you hang out with. I want you to notice who I hang out with. And I love those fearless types because I want to be just like them when I grow up. And so you have a chalkboard in life. Everything that's on that chalkboard, you put there. You're in control of it. You get a piece of chalk and you get an eraser. Sometimes the eraser is what you got to do. You got to get rid of all the people that send those negative messages to, you know, I'm not going to say it on camera, but it's a committee, and it's not nice, all right? Mm-hmm. And the last thing I'll say is, if your knee-jerk reaction is no, or I'll think about it, you need to learn to say yes.
Well said. Many of us spent part of our morning in Janet and Carolyn's speed meeting sessions, so we're all kind of on our way. But once we conquer our fear of networking, what are the best first steps toward actually networking?
So I was doing a lot of studying, and there were three things that I actually took away. And one is the comment about step out of your comfort zone and just go do it. The second is have something in your head in terms of an opening line when you walk in the door, right? Because when I walked in, and I go back to that first time where I'm looking around the room and there was a sea of strangers. And I would say that I'm an introvert. Most people that know me would be like, no way, Kathy, no, you're not. But on my personal time, I would love to just stand back and just observe. And what I did was I observed the number of people that were looking just like me. The ones that were standing there hoping someone would say something to them or something would fall from the ceiling and we all had to evacuate. There was something, right? So that was one of those where be prepared to ask a question, whether it's something in the news, whether it's the latest topic, whether it's something happening with yourself. Based on what you want to find out, just be prepared with a good opening line, your elevator statement, just something that gets the conversation started in case somebody does actually say something to you. And the third piece of it I heard, or advice, was wear something colorful and creative, right? And I never really thought about that because, I'm really an earth tone kind of person. You usually see me in black. If I could help it, it'd be black, everything black, it would be black. But wearing something like a bright red or big flower or something where people want to ask a question like, where'd you get that shirt? What's up with that necklace? What's up with that? Because there are a lot of ways of getting the conversation started, but don't be afraid to get it started.
So, one of the things that's so nice in today's world because of the blogosphere is people love to tell their story. And so one of my tricks, and and this is also a trick for those of you who are in sales, sometimes it's hard, that icebreaker moment when you're, with a new client even, this works, is share something about yourself and something more vulnerable. I think vulnerability, transparency goes a long way in actually connecting with people. And so instead of saying, giving my, resume, telling you my resume, say something personal that's safe. Let's not get too personal. But I think that, I don't want to know that, TMI. But, and it could be something simple like, I'm a dog lover. I love my dogs. Sometimes talking about your dogs, you become a human being to them. And a lot of people, that's a great topic, by the way.
Do you have a dog?
Yeah, I have 4.
What are their names?
Nikki, I have Nikki. I have Nikki. No, I'm just kidding. That's my favorite one.
She has 4 dogs. They're all named Nikki. Kathy, do you have a dog?
Zoe,
No,
yeah.
no.
So, dog, because you could talk about something like you become a person. You're not just with your byline, and your little resume. And so I think it's really important. And I love people, so I'm lucky. But like you, I understand a lot of people, and I made a point of when I came in today, I looked for every woman who was standing by themselves. And I went over to them because not everyone is like me. I'm kind of bigger than life. Be sensitive, those of you who are more social, to reach out to women who are not so comfortable and draw them out. And sometimes they're embarrassed to talk about themselves. So sure, open the door.
This is something that you talked about, Jody. How can women and men not inadvertently perpetuate myths and language that hold women back?
Ooh, this is my favorite topic lately. And by the way, I'm guilty of it too. I want to say that we women often perpetuate our own problem. It's not just the guy's fault. We fall into traps of saying things like, well, to work in our industry, you got to have a really tough skin. If I hear that one more time, I'm just going to scream. I don't want to have an elephant thick skin in life. I don't want to have to do that to thrive in my workplace. The more that you say that, the more you perpetuate that on other women, giving them something to reach for that's impossible and not even comfortable. Saying that you got to become like one of the boys to play in the boys club. I'm a girl. I'm always going to be a girl. I love men, by the way. I love all of you men, but I'm a girl, and I want to be a girl where I work. I don't want to have to be like the guys and talk like the guys and do the things with the guys. I don't want it to be a prerequisite. Now, if I like to do guy things, that's cool. And you see, I like to do a lot of things guys like. So I just think that we need to watch our language and be sensitive to the fact that we all don't, there's not a special type of woman that has these X qualities to come in. I hear that a lot. Look at this is a beautiful rainbow of women sitting in the room, each different from a different, this is how it should be, only times about 1,000 in our industry. Thank you.
So I will make one comment, and I think a lot of it's about how you really feel inside. If you feel strong, you use strong language. If you feel weak, you use weak language. And a lot of that is, Judy made the comment about, don't use weak language and be careful that I think and I feel. I know certain things, and that's been hard for me to actually do. And somehow the more I feel confident about it, the louder my voice gets, and I actually project my voice better. So if you feel a certain kind of way and you think that it's not as comfortable, then look into that Because if you feel strong, then strong and strength will exude from you. If you feel weak, if you feel challenged, then that will exude as well, to Jody's point.
Thank you, Jody DeVere and Kathy Gilbert.